Batman, Knightfall, and Beyond was written by Alan Grant in 1994. In the prologue, Batman vividly remembers the death of his parents. It's almost like it's a rule that Thomas and Martha Wayne have to die in every serious Batman adaptation.
Argo Funk Book Review, Argo Funk Book Review.
Part 1. A new super-strong villain named Bane appears, promising to break Batman and conquer Gotham City. Bane starts things off with a bang. When he blows up Arkham Asylum, now there are 30 dangerous criminals on the loose. One of them is Mad Hatter, who throws a tea party with 8 thugs and machine guns. It's so dangerous that Batman decides he has to get help. Wait, no, I mean the opposite. It's so dangerous, Batman decides he can't get help from anyone, not even his 2 sidekicks. His sidekicks are Robin number 3 and Jean-Paul Valley. Jean-Paul was a normal teenager until he learned his father was secretly preparing him to be a hitman for a 600-year-old evil organization. It's probably safer for everyone involved if he trains with Batman instead. Jean-Paul and Robin do an easy training mission to stop graffiti artists. Jean-Paul is so threatening, Robin's scared. He's worried Jean-Paul has not fully shaken off the evil organization's influence. On second thought, it's a really terrible idea for Batman to take a brainwashed person under his wing. Batman spends weeks chasing the escaped criminals. Every time he gets a little more tired and worn out, he starts making mistakes when he goes up against Killer Croc and Poison Ivy. Bane's 3 thugs launch a surprise attack on Batman. He defeats them, but he's thoroughly exhausted by the time he returns home. Bane is waiting for him there. Batman heroically refuses to quit, but just like when my phone is at 1%, he doesn't last long. Bane breaks Batman's back. The injury is so severe, it will take years for Bruce to recover. He asks Jean-Paul to replace him as Batman. Part 2. Jean-Paul Batman is too violent for Robin's taste. They argue when Jean-Paul beats up a non-resisting criminal. When Robin tries to apologize, he sees Jean-Paul as adding weapons to the Batman costume, so they get into an even bigger fight. Jean-Paul kicks Robin out of the Batman group. I'm sure there are comic book fans who think getting rid of Robin makes Jean-Paul the best Batman ever. Jean-Paul has a tough fight against the Tally Man. He survives by digging deep into himself and relying on his secret training as an avenging angel of death. That's probably not the best idea because he becomes even more violent. For example, one of Bruce Wayne's rules is save innocent lives first, stop villains second. Jean-Paul decides to disregard this rule. He is totally fine with letting an innocent person die if it means he can stop Scarecrow and thereby save 1,000 innocent lives. Needless to say, everyone is shocked that Jean-Paul Batman is fine with letting people die. Meanwhile, Bruce Wayne investigates the kidnapping of his love interest, Dr. Chandra Kinsolving. With the help of a disguise and a vigilante superhero in London, Bruce identifies the kidnapper as Benedict Asp. This will sound weird, but Asp plans to mix Russian mind control machines with Chandra's psychic healing powers to create a long-distance psionic death ray. Bruce intervenes. Chandra is so worried for Bruce's safety that the machine overloads, Asp dies, and Chandra has a complete mental breakdown. But the good news is that Bruce's back has been perfectly healed. We end with a long, violent fight between Bane and Jean-Paul Batman. It carries over to a train, and Jean-Paul is the victor. This proves he deserves to be Batman. Part 3. Jean-Paul proves he doesn't deserve to be Batman. He fights Clayface and Lady Clayface by burning them with a flamethrower, and he murders a serial killer named Abattoir. Bruce confronts Jean-Paul, who refuses to stop. Jean-Paul loses his grip on sanity when he comes across a case that involves his father's murderer. Now Jean-Paul thinks he is Batman! Bruce Wayne trains with Lady Shiva for a month before he feels he's in good enough shape to resume his role as Batman. He and Jean-Paul fight in the Batcave. Bruce disables Jean-Paul's weapons and forces Jean-Paul to remove his costume piece by piece. Jean-Paul stops fighting when he realizes it's just a costume. He admits he's not really the Batman. The end. Post-book follow-up. This is one of 2 Batman Knightfall novelizations. The other one is for adults and it's 300 pages. This one is for younger readers. It's 150 pages with illustrations. Even though both books tell the same basic story, there are several differences. The secondary villains are different. Bane is more brutish and violent. Alfred's role is reduced to almost nothing, and more attention is given to Robin. I thought Jean-Paul was done much better in this version because he's given more of an introduction and he gets a lot more narrative focus in part 2. Since this book is so short, it is forced to leave out a lot of the story. For example, Bruce saving Chandra in England is 15 pages at most. In the other Knightfall novel, Chandra's rescue gets at least 60 pages. So this version cuts out the parts where Chandra gets moved, Alfred has drama, Bruce is hospitalized, Bruce is arrested, Bruce talks to Chandra's stepmother, and all of the love drama. It's definitely an abridged retelling of the storyline. The original storyline ran in various comic books. Overall, I like this book a lot. I thought it was fast-paced and action-packed. The other novelization is better because it's more detailed and complete, but I actually preferred this one. Maybe that's because I read more young adult books than adult books. I probably would have loved this book to death if I had read it in high school. I give Batman Knightfall and Beyond a 9 out of 10.